All right, welcome everybody to Holiday Security Tips for Small Businesses. Our goal is to continue to have the conversation about security, and the more that we talk about it, the more different little tips and tricks that we're going to learn about. And we're going to learn ways to secure ourselves better. So my goal today is to kind of go over 3 different areas and provide you with some different thoughts to think about. It's not that you're going to necessarily tackle everything, or you may have heard some of the stuff that I'm going to share, but the more that we talk about it, the more that we're able to protect ourselves. So let's dive right in. In case you're unaware, I think most of you are unaware of the Bankert family of companies. We are Bankert Marketing, Bankert IT Services, Bankert Security, focusing strictly on video security. And like this workshop is learnonlinesecurity.com, which is above my head there. Oh, jumped ahead. Okay, so the question is, why the holidays? Why would someone, why are the holidays more attacked than any other time of year? And this doesn't, we're picking on Christmas right now. But if we are to jump into, hey, Teresa, welcome here. We're just jumping in. We're right at the start of the slide. So why the holidays? This could be any holiday. It doesn't have to be Christmas. We're just using this sort of Christmas, but I know Black Friday's coming up, Cyber Monday, all of those things. But really any sort of holiday where there's an increase in spending within your business or your organization, these are the times that hackers are going to attack. So why are they going to do that? Well, one, increased spending. So there's a lot more money floating around that they can get their hands into. 2, there's especially with Christmas, there's a sense of urgency that's attached to it. So, you have X number of days till Christmas. You have to buy the perfect gift. You have to get this, you have to get that. And so by having that pre-built in sense of urgency with the holiday already, now we just have to introduce that into our communications that we're having with you. And then the scammer can take that much, they're steps ahead already. Emotional manipulation. The holidays are terrific time for emotional manipulation. You can use all sorts of things because of the emotion of the holiday and things that are tied to it. You're already emotionally prepped to respond to an emotional plea. The volume of communication. So there's increased spending, which is with increased spending, you have more money flowing, but there's also more emails flowing, there's more phone calls flowing, there's more that you have to deal with that's coming into your inbox. And so taking the time to deal with every single communication becomes tiresome. The seasonal staff. So depending on your organization, you may or may not have seasonal staff. They're often not trained as well as regular staff, and they become a point of opportunity. Reduced focus because of everything above and all of the busyness going on. And then you have the actual seasonal scams. One of the ones that starts up that increases over the Christmas season and then all the way to February is romance scams. So different ones like that you will see will start to jump up. I'm going to let Ed in as well. Welcome here, Ed. We are just a couple slides in. Don't worry, I do have a recording going of this that I'll share with everyone so that you can catch up to where we left off. Okay, so that's a scary picture, having all of those things, all of the seasonal opportunities that come. So the question then becomes, how can I stay protected? I know we have limited time here today, so today we're going to go over a number of ways that people will try to steal from you, that they will try to fraud you. And due to time constraints, this is going to be more of a brief overview as opposed to really diving into the nuts and bolts of it. It's more to get us thinking as we're going through this. So just want to do a shout out if you haven't, if you're not aware. Oh, I put that on the wrong side. The QR code behind my head. But this is our online school. It's free to join. No payments for anything except for if you want to buy a class. But on here we have discussions continually about different things that are happening in the community of social engineering security, cybersecurity, online, offline security, all of that stuff. So if you want to learn more, I'll mention this at the end again. We do have the school community available. So physical fraud. Let's take a look at physical fraud. Physical fraud is those things that they're not trying to do it electronically, they're actually trying to do it in person. So a great example of this, and I heard a gentleman who's he's an ex-con and he has a podcast that he does, and he spends a lot of time talking about the different frauds that everyone, the different scams that everyone carried out. And so one of the best ones that he points out all the time is he had a buddy, he would just walk into the store, pick up whatever product, walk to the cashier desk, and then return it. And he had just taken it off the shelf. And if we don't have the policy that you need to have a receipt or anything like that, it's just something in the system. I can't prove that I bought it, but I did buy it here because it's the only place to buy it from. This is one of the ways that scammers will try to pocket some cash from you. A big one is fake invoices. Fake invoices, an example of this is I have another friend from Canada, and they had received an invoice to their organization that said, hey, you owe us $300 for these services that we did last year. And he's like, well, I don't even remember these people at all. And I don't remember the services that they did. But they kept bugging him about it, saying, hey, it's overdue, all of it. Finally, he said, you know what? It's $300. I'll just pay it and be done with them. And so he paid it. Well, immediately after that, he received an invoice for $3,000 from the same organization for services rendered. And immediately he knew that the previous one was a scam because he should not have paid that one in the first place. He should have fought it. And you should always know exactly where your invoices are coming from. But fake invoices are a big one. Fake cashier checks. I actually learned this one from a fellow, heard more information about this from a fellow in, we were in outside of Vancouver. And the conversation, this is more with big ticket items. So in their case, it's like a motorsports store. So they're selling quads and snowmobiles and RVs and things like that. And so the customer would come in, they would present a cashier check. Of course, the cashier check is fake. And after the business received it, they're like, well, it's a cashier check. It's as good as gold because I'm just going to take it like money to the bank. Well, of course it's fake. And so the big thing with the fake cashier checks is to be on top of it, to be like, no, we don't release inventory until the cashier check has been verified and actually taking it to the bank. That's really the best way to get around the cashier check issue. Inventory devices. These devices can be basically, okay, there's a couple different ways that you can go with inventory devices. So one is actual devices that keep track of what is on your network. And so we have different tools that we use that tell you, okay, these are the exact things that are on your network at any given time. These are the people that are connected to it. And you have an ongoing inventory of that. How do you know if someone new has plugged into your network or if you have another device that's siphoning off data without having some form of inventory management system for your computers that are on your network? It's really hard to tell that. The second part of that is, I would say, like your skimmers and things like that that are added to your physical point of sale devices. If you use point of sale devices, make sure to go over them once a day just to make sure there isn't anything attached to them. That's a really big item. Physical barriers. I've been torn about physical barriers because if you have a retail store, I seen this used quite effectively in home hardware, actually. Uh, I need to ask them how it's impacted their theft. But now, in order to get out of the home hardware in Dauphin, you have to actually go through the cashier lines. Everything is funneled through through the door, but everyone has to walk right by, and it makes you wait, and it causes that extra barrier so that if someone does want to steal physically from you, they have to go to a lot of extra steps in order to make it out. And it also allows you to funnel them directly under any security cameras that you have or anything like that, so that you can identify people if there is something going on. And that goes into business class security systems. So that's both for video as well as security for your devices themselves, door locks, windows, all of those fun things. So that's a little bit on physical fraud. Like physical fraud, another example of it is there was a big snowmobile heist that was happening here in the parkland. And the guys would, there's a group of them, they would actually wait until they knew that the manager was gone. So it was very premeditated. They had scouted out, they had done their social engineering ahead of time. And then as soon as he had gone, they would jump in, they would warm up all the sleds, they would turn them off because they knew that he came back. And so turn them all off, waited, he came back and then he ended up working a little longer than he usually did. And they got sick of waiting. They turned on all the sleds and they ripped out of there. And so he chased after them, but he didn't quite make it up. But they had stole, I think it was like millions of dollars worth of snowmobiles and quads and stuff from Manitoba in the last couple of years. So what are some common scams, some holiday scams that we kind of will that we need to be on the lookout for? One is anything to do with gift cards. Gift cards are really a big ticket item, and there's your own gift cards, but then anyone asking for gift cards, we're always about the staff owner impersonation, which is actually further down on my slide. But the common thing is we look for out of office replies, we look for information on social media that just says so and so is going to be away and they're going to be at a conference and they'll have no access to their phone. Perfect. Now I can reach out, pretend to be a particular individual and say, hey, I need you to send me a gift card. I'm about to go on stage. I'm reaching out for my personal email because I can't get my work email going. And, whatever other reasons they come up with, can you send me a couple gift cards that I can hand out as prizes? And it sounds simple enough, but really you're just giving the scammer a couple of free gift cards. And we think to ourselves, well, there's no way that I would fall for that because it's obvious that that's a scam. But there's people that I know who have walked up to the cashier's desk, register, and they're ready to check out until finally their brain clicks and they see the red flag and they're like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense at all. Why am I doing this? I know better than this. So the gift card one is a big one. Anything to do with gift cards, we definitely slow down. The big thing with all of this is to reduce urgency. We're always having to go so fast to deal with as many issues as we can. And so when a problem comes up, we want to deal with it right away and just get it taken care of so we can move on to the next one. So supplier impersonation is another big one that uses urgency to try and trick you in order to send information or money or whatever. There was a family farm in Manitoba that was there was a man in the middle attack where they got in between them and their fertilizer check. And I can't remember which direction it was going, but they were basically almost out like hundreds of thousands of dollars because of this social engineered attack where they actually impersonated the supplier. And I think the attack was actually against the fertilizer company. It wasn't against, well, it included the farmer, but The target was the actual company. So supplier impersonation is just when you receive emails or you receive information from suppliers, is it actually from suppliers? We just have to do the due diligence of making sure that everything lines up. A big thing, actually, one of the greatest current reasons to use AI, if I can think of one, is to learn to identify AI. Because the more that you use it, the more that you understand. And so there was a recent scam where a person actually had a virus on their computer and their information was being skimmed. And then the company would reach out to their customers with a full email thread and everything like that. But the whole thing was fake. It was all AI generated based on um, their past email correspondence. So they just fed it into AI and said, hey, we want to target this company. Here is the email threads that they've used. Produce an email that shows all of the past emails as a part of it. And then they would send that over, trying to get them, instead of paying the customer, trying to get them to funnel it into a crypto or money wallet or something like that. So with supplier, also vendor impersonation, I know that's kind of the same thing, but the same sort of rules applies. But one of the big ones is authority attacks. And I did just post a little bit about this on social media, and on our podcast, we talked about it for an episode. I do want to do some follow-up videos on it when I get a second. But authority attacks are probably the most scary ones of all because they're so easy to do. The couple weeks ago, we did a pen test on not one of our clients on for a different group, and we walked into the organization, plugged into their server, and pinged their IT desk and said, "Hey, we're on your server. What do you want us to do now?" And they freaked out because we're not supposed to be able to do that. And they're like, well, surely you're dressed up like look official or something like that. And nope, it was just Chris in his shorts and his t-shirt, a laptop and a cord. And away he went. He just said hello and just kept on going like he meant to be there. The one big thing with authority-based attacks is actually taking the time and having the policy in place. If someone comes into the organization who is new, who is working on something, doing any sort of activity that's out of the norm, there has to be protocols and things that go along with that. Are they supervised? What are they actually doing? Does someone confront them? The other side of it too is that, let's say you hire me to do something. Okay, so Richard, you're allowed to come in and work on our server, whatever it is, or on our computer. And I do that for, 3 or 4 months. And then unknown to you, I actually get fired. That is an issue too with providers, is that you have to stay on top of, okay, you have someone coming out. How do I verify that they're actually still working for the company? And they're not actually just going back to past customers to fraud them. And that does happen. I have found that some of the best ways, and I did pose this question in the community, to perform authority-based attacks is I just put on my hard hat and safety vest, put a clipboard. I can basically go wherever I want. Another good one that people mentioned was actually a ladder. They said the ladder attack. All you have to do is get 2 guys in a ladder and you can basically go anywhere you want in the building because people will open doors for you and not question what you're up to. That's kind of like the Louvre. If you saw the jewelry heist that just happened a couple weeks ago in France there, it was an authority-based attack. They took a lift, they brought it up to the second-story window, construction workers, looks like they belong, and away they went, broke into the window, drilled into cases, took the stuff, and away they went. So that's authority-based attacks, and that's probably one of the easiest ones to perform. We've walked into a business, changed their access point, and walked out. and no one even talked to us. And that shouldn't happen. You should be questioning why people are removing parts of your network. Staff owner impersonation. That's partly the gift card thing, but it can really be spectrum with anything. If you're boss or if you are the boss, your administrative assistants, whatever, knowing and understanding and really paying attention to the flavor and the complexity of the emails and voicemail that you have with each other. Deep fakes are so easy to do now that it's not too hard to impersonate someone over the phone or through a video call and definitely through an email. But there are things that make us unique. And so one of the best ways to get around that is to actually have some form of if you know that you're going to be away, have someone that's responsible for looking after your communications if you're not going to be in touch. If you are going to be in touch, just having a simple passphrase in mind. It's like Mary had a little lamb. It's like, okay, I need you to do this. I need you to be done fast. What's the passphrase to get it done? This is what it is. Now, we could get all technical and scary and say, well, what if people have listening devices in their office? We can't protect against everything. What we're trying to do is we're trying to clog the holes in the strainer and just start to make ourselves more secure than we were yesterday. One of the other big ones is a security issue, call a number. So that's there's a couple ways that this particular scam is done. And you may have noticed it, come across it before. The one where it pops up, there's a problem with your computer, you need to call Microsoft. And it's often, sometimes it can be as simple as you've downloaded some malware and there's something on your computer that needs to be cleaned off. Usually you can get rid of the alert just by restarting your computer. I have seen it where they've actually added an extension to your browser. And so that's often done by, say you go to I pick on recipe sites, and there's nothing against recipe sites, but it just seems like they're an easy target. So with a recipe site, I have, it goes there and then it says, hey, do you want to save $500 this month by using instant coupons or whatever it is. And so we start stacking up all of these extensions, these free extensions in our browser. Well, those extensions can then be turned or other extensions added to them without our knowing. And then it will, when you open up your browser at any time, they can then put a pop-up or show a pop-up that looks like it's your entire screen, but it's not actually your entire screen. It's just a fake window that's full screen. And so that scam has been around forever, and it's definitely one that is extremely common. Another one I just heard of the other day was, and I forget the name of it. I need to go back through my notes and see if I can find it. But it's with Captcha. Apparently, I've never come across it, but apparently there are some sites out there that are manipulatively using Captcha. And you click on the Captcha like you normally would with Google. And instead of it popping up with the regular thing where you would select how many motorcycles or buses or streetlights there are, it asks you to press a series of keys on your keyboard. By doing this, you're actually installing malware on your device. So if your CAPTCHA does something out of the ordinary, then definitely question it. There's a couple main CAPTCHAs, three main CAPTCHAs that there's Google, which is just a check mark, or the new ones that you don't even know that they're there. There's one by Cloudflare, which acts a lot like the Google one. And then there's also the, oh, my mind blanked. I can see it. I can't remember it now. It's terrible. There's a third one, but the third one, it makes you do all sorts of weird little activities in order to release the CAPTCHA. So you got to click on things in a certain order or something like that. So digital footprint, how how to lock down social media. We're going to switch to digital footprint for just a second and talk about that. So social media is a great way for people to be able to attack and get into your information. So how do we quickly lock that down? So with LinkedIn, and I'll send you the recording so you can review this later if you want, but I'm just going to go over this efficiently. In LinkedIn, you can click on your account in the top right, then go to settings and privacy, visibility, and then data privacy. And then within here, there's all different ways that LinkedIn uses your data, and you can choose how you want your data to be used or if you want them to allow to do any of it. So we definitely recommend locking that down. The one that I personally that they just introduced is this data for generative AI improvement. And that just means that they can use your data and anything you post on LinkedIn to train their AI. And you do have the option to turn that off, and hopefully they do follow that. With Facebook, you can click on your photo on the top right, then click on settings and privacy, click on privacy checkup, and then you'll see these pictures right here. You can click through any of these settings and turn on and off what people are allowed to see. I definitely recommend that you lock most things down. Everyone doesn't need to know what your birth date is. Everyone doesn't need to know your email address or even to find you by email. If you're interested in, how you should actually be locking this down, we can do a further video on that later. Instagram, same thing. Instagram has a lot less options when it comes to settings and privacy, but it's under profile, gear, icon, settings and privacy. And you basically have the option of setting your account to be private or for it to be available for everyone. Twitter, it's just more settings and privacy. Once again, in here, Gronk and third-party collaborators are something that can be turned on. That means that you can they can use your information to train their AI models. And within here, there's a number of privacy settings that you can turn on in order to keep them from accessing your data when you don't want them to. The third thing is, or the fourth thing, the next thing is to do a website cleanup. So one, is it updated? For anyone who's a managed plan of ours, we keep them updated and secured. Is it monitored? Do people know if it's on, if there's an issue with it? Is it protecting privacy? And so I mentioned that with our team. One of the easiest ways to get information is to go onto people's about pages on their websites. And sometimes you'll have big, long bios about how wonderful the person is and everything they love to do. And every Saturday night, they take their kids out to hockey or whatever it is. And so it's quick and easy for me to social engineer someone because you've just given me all of the private information without me having to dig for it. Close down old accounts. There's probably 1 million old accounts out there. You probably recognize a bunch of these old sites, and all of those spaces out there. If you're not using a site anymore, go in there, see if you can get in there anymore, delete your information, because otherwise it opens up the opportunity. There's sites that maybe you use the same password for 20 years and you use them across all of these old sites. So if that password is compromised, scammers just have to go through and then they can pick up, say, your MySpace, and then they can become you. I don't know if MySpace is in existence anymore, but the idea is they can then become you on that platform and attack other people on that platform as you instead of themselves. So you want to close that down. The final thing I mentioned is staff training, just doing things like this, getting out, having conversations about security, and taking the best defense is a well-educated staff. Protect them as people, not as insurance checkboxes, and work on your policies for various scenarios. So some of the ones that we pick on right away is, how do you process old devices? What's the process for dealing with e-waste? How do you handle the theft? What is your response plan for a data breach? How do you dispose of paper that has your information on it? So all those are little things, and if you're not a policy person, you just think, well, that's ridiculous. But creating policies around these things is a great activity and a way to further educate yourself and actually think through the actions to protect your organization. So keep learning. Join us online, learnonlinesecurity.com, and our online school. We do have our podcast up and running. You can catch all the episodes on all the places that you listen to podcasts. And once again, our school community. I'll include a link with this when I send out the email, and next time I'll move myself to the other side. But thanks for joining me today. That was our half hour.